Harpers Ferry, Maryland. That's right. Sabina and I were looking for some place to go, and I realized that we hadn't checked it out yet. It's a very beautiful little historic town, I guess, right where Maryland meets West Virginia. And there's some big rivers and old museums you can check out, as well as going to get food on the cliffside with beautiful views. We decided to walk along the train tracks here and show her some of the first sights. There are different forts and old churches, as well as a place you could eat that seemed to have heated tents. We weren't sure about that, so we didn't risk it. Here we were trying to get a cool shot of walking along. We found this old tavern, what it used to look like, I believe. And we managed to get a 360 view of the Whitehall Tavern. Even with cars rolling around, these old structures look amazing. We're both looking together. We did find a couple beautiful spots to take photos with each other. The sky was looking great. The moon was out. You can't really see on the recording too much because I guess the lenses are too small to show that. But here we were in the front yard of a church. There was definitely people passing by that were not wearing masks. But you can see this structure is quite beautiful, especially with the sun glinting off the side of it. And it's always very interesting, the views you can get with a 360 camera walking around ancient structures like this. I'm sure they never imagined people, having the views that we have. This is actually inside a food cellar, I believe. But maybe it's also for witches. I mean, multi-purpose. Cutie. There's my cutie Sabina. There's lots of steps connecting these older parts of the town. We found this really run-down looking building, so we decided to walk up there. We almost walked on the grass, and I see now that it is actually something you're not supposed to really go on, but we decided to go in and get a closer look because you don't get to see old structures like this very often. This one was actually a really old church, a Catholic church. Once we were inside, it was pretty interesting. There's a big house overlooking it. We were able to get a beautiful view of the river, and across the river you could see a church in the distance. I feel like they have been set up like this for many hundreds of years. But it was a good spot to build one, that's for sure. Not holding up all the way, but enough for us to get under it. So yeah, we did a lot of walking. It's pretty. It's almost like reminded us in ways of when we visited Puerto Rico. And these quaint little museum locations are cool too. We managed to catch a train when we were walking across the bridge. The bridge is a common location in Harpers Ferry where you can walk right across the river and you can see the beautiful mountains, and you can actually follow a trail to go all the way up on top of those cliffs. It's not very often you see a train go by when you're walking along here though. The view really is spectacular, and the water was an emerald green. I was also trying to get a shot here where I could use a special effect with my camera, but it didn't work out, so I figured we'll just look around and check out the beautiful sights. As we walked along, I saw that there was actually a lot of locks here. And similarly to France, where I guess people who fall in love decide to put locks along a fence, this is another location where you see people's names and hearts, and they lock them on there. And you've got groups of friends who locked locks in locations that are crazy. There's no way to really know how they got up there. But once you get to the end, we have to walk over this, which is basically some metal walkway that if you look down, you will look maybe 50 feet down. Sabina was definitely a little scared about it. And when we were coming back up, there was actually a couple that had 3 dogs, 3 big, beautiful dogs. And the dogs were extremely frightened of this walkway, and they were having a lot of trouble getting them to get on there at all. I forgot that the walkway looked like that, but it definitely looks great on the camera, and I think Sabina got over her fear pretty quickly as well. These structures are really magnificent for being here for so long. Still in use. We saw a blue heron fly in. We actually saw it fly away and back again later. We had seen an otter by the river. We decided to go across to this little other part of the river. I tried out the camera, and when you go in the water, you can see maybe these quick little things move out of the way. I think there definitely was some sea life, which makes sense because we ended up seeing... There they are. Look at that. We ended up seeing an otter, a actual wild river otter, which we had never seen one in the wild before. And then the blue heron came and landed right next to where the otter was swimming. Now, I don't know if they eat the eggs. I'll have to look it up, but it was really cool to see him poke his head up several times and seeing the blue heron swoop in. The time-lapse probably captured it, but it's hard to tell, it's so short. I really love the spectacular views at Harpers Ferry. You've got everything from old walls and forts to these giant spectacular cliffs. It's even got old writing there. This was basically used as a hub to get goods along the river to all 3 states. We connected right here. And now it's a beautiful spot that we were thinking of taking some bikes to. I've just got to get a bike rack and maybe one more bike. I like trying out the zoom functions with this camera. It actually can get some really high quality effects going on. It's pretty cool. But it's nice to see some different views. I just wanted to look around this bridge. You can really lift the camera high up and get a nice vantage point. It was a beautiful day. Walking along the bridge in Harpers Ferry, it really is a large part of the tradition if you visit. The shops are great. We visited an old candy shop that has old candies that they can't be found anywhere else. The woman told us some great stories. There's some local beers you can find at the shop there as well. And the pizza, if I remember correctly, we didn't get it this time, but it is pretty good. Here, the last bit is this clock watch store we found, and then this is the otter, actually. You'll see you look up, and you'll see its head pop up above the water. And then when it goes back under the water, you'll see its little tail. It's definitely an otter, and it popped up and down several times. It was great. Thanks for watching.